Hi everyone, my crafty friends, welcome to Betsy Paper Craft Room. I am popping in here to do a little walkthrough of the cutting process for the pumpkin spice scrapbooking kit. I'll be putting this kit together on Friday, November 26th from 1 until 3 p.m. There are a limited number of these kits still available through Close to My Heart. The number for the kit is G1237NP, and this video and the instruction video will both remain on my line if you don't have it yet but would like to participate. So jump on over there and pick one up. So let's get started. First off, let's see some of the things that we need to talk about first. We have in the kit the placeholders for your photos, and we're going to sort those out as we come up upon them. And we have the full color instruction guide, and this is going to be our Bible today. I like to put my pieces as I create them into separate folders so that when the time comes to assemble these three gorgeous layouts, they will be all separated up for me. And that's what today is all about, is having everything organized and ready to go on Friday. So I'm going to put these aside and fill them as things come together here. Let's go ahead and take a peek at the instructions. It has the materials needed, excuse me, a materials needed list, and of course the first thing you need is the kit. You will need to have, these are optional right here, a coral tri-blend marker, a gold yellow tri-blend marker, and a true blue shades tri-blend marker. Unfortunately, I only have one of those three, but it's not going to affect the outcome of our kit much more than the colors that we choose in the end will not be the exact same colors as Close to My Heart used on here. We also will need our thin 3D foam tape. If you like to add a little bit of dimension to your layouts, the thin gold foam tape is perfect because it does add just a little bit of dimension, and not so much that your pages won't fit in or really get too crowded and everything. Pewter journaling pen, again, that would be an optional item. You can use any color journaling pen you like. Our adhesive, we'll need scissors, paper trimmer, and a ruler. So those are all things that some you may need right now today, and some you may need on Friday when we put this together. So have these things all handy when it's time to go. Let me clear my things off to the side here for right now, with the exception of my paper trimmer that I know I'm going to need it right away. And I'm going to keep the ruler nearby as well. Okay, so let's turn the page on this. At the top of the second page, we have a list of what size photos that they used on each layout, and our layouts are listed as Project 1, Project 2, and Project 3. So let's go ahead and divide our photo placeholders up in the same order that they have them on here. So we need 2 3x3 for Project 1. Just going to slide those in there. The next one, 1 3x4 for Project 1, and 2 4x6 for Project 1. Now, of course, you can put any size and as many photos as you like on these layouts. It is totally up to you. It's your project. But this is how they were designed by the kit. So I'm just going to go for simplicity right now and follow the kit. So for Project 2, we need 2 3x3. Oops, I'm not doing this very orderly, am I? Okay, there's 2 3x3. We need 3 3x4. 1, 2, 3, 3x4. And one more. They have them listed whether or not they're portrait or the long way, so that's why that's on there twice. One 4x4. There we go. One 4x6. And that's all for project number 2. So those will go into my number 2 folder. Project number 3, 2 3x4. It should be everything that's left here. One 3x4 in the opposite orientation, and one 4x6 in each orientation. And you will notice on these that it does have on each side for portrait, it's going to be face up that way. If I flip it over, it's showing it the long way, so it's turned the other way. So let's put all of those into folder number 3. And next we're going to work with our patterned papers. So let's grab those out. And first off, we are going to cut some of the zip strips off. Let's see. Well, it says trim all the zip strips off, so let's go ahead and take care of that. Sorry. Okay, and the zip strip, of course, is that little patterned piece at the top of your paper. You'll notice on the other side it has colors and information about the paper pack, the name of it, etc. So we just want to cut these off, and we will be using some of them for our layouts. I really like this little gray leaf one. It's pretty. Okay, what's next? We have the acorns. Although we're cutting all of these off, we're not actually going to use all of them, which means you have some left over to use in other places. You can use them in other places on the same layouts. You can use them on cards. You can use them on other layouts coming up. And any of those things are perfectly fine. Okay, now we have them all cut off, and let's go back to our instructions here. And the last ones I cut off that are the papaya color with little X's on them, we need both of those at 12 inches long. And it indicates one is 1E and one is 1K. So the number 1 is the folder that it will go into. So let's put those 12 inches long in there. And the the dark one with the oak leaves on it, we need 1 at 11 inches. So let's just cut 1 inch off of this because it's 12 inches otherwise. So there's 1 inch taken off. And then we need a little piece that is 2 inches long. So we will get that from the other longer piece. And those go into folder number 3. Okay, turning our page over, let's put aside the rest of the zip strips, as those are pieces that you can use on other projects. We're going to first take this sheet that has stripes on one side and polka dots on the other. And we are referring to the polka dot side as the front, so that will be up. Our first cut is going to be a 1/2 inch 2 times. So I'm going to do that on the right side of my cutting tool. So there's 1/2 inch piece. And there's the second 1/2 inch piece. Now these are both going to be cut at 6 1/4 and then 3 1/4. So I think I can get 6 1/4 without opening up that, but I did. So 6 1/4. Here's one, and then I'm double checking because I don't want to goof up here. 3 1/4 for the second piece. Okay, and those, all 4 of these, so I'm going to cut them again the same sizes, 6 1/4. Oops. That was the little leftover piece that's a scrap. Okay, so 6 1/4, and then the second piece at 3 1/4. And all of those are going into folder number 1. 2 6 1/4 by 1/2 inch pieces and 2 3 1/4 by 1/2 inch pieces. So with what is left here, we want a square of 9 1/4 inches by 9 1/4 inches. So we're going to scoot that all the way over on our extendable arm. Cut once, turn it one time, and to 9 1/4 for the second cut, and cut twice. Now this piece has on it an asterisk, which means we are using the back side of it. So let's go ahead and put that into number 2. Now I'm going to put the back side facing me. I like to put the pieces in to my folders in the same orientation that they're going to be, so that when I open up the folder, I'll see the correct side already. It just saves a little bit of time doing the hunt and peck through things. So these 2 pieces are extra. Let's grab the other polka dot piece. And this time we're going to go ahead and turn it over, and we're going to cut 9 1/2 by 9 1/2. So there's one cut at 9 1/2, and here comes the other cut at 9 1/2, and that also goes into 2. And let's put our scraps aside. So now we have the first 2 parts of this done, and we're going to move on to the sweater paper. Of course, I have all of my paper in the exact opposite of how we're using it. Okay, so they're showing the orientation of this as the sweaters are going sideways, which means that probably when this piece that we're going to cut out goes on, it will be this way on the paper, the long way. So let's put our sweaters in sideways, and we're going to cut a piece that's 4 1/2 by 11 inches. So we're going to cut the 4 1/2 first. And then we will turn it, and we just need to cut off 1 inch to make 11 inches. So I'm going to do that on the right side of my cutting guide. I'm lining it up to the 1 inch mark, and there we go. So this is going into folder number 3. And the rest of this is, again, scrap. I'm going to just take a minute and put some of these larger scrap pieces aside. Okay, the next thing we need is solid cardstock. So let's pick this up for a moment. And bring out our solid cardstock. We're looking for mink. There you go. So first one we're going to do is mink. Let's see what comes next. Mink, and then buttercup. So mink, buttercup, 2 of the harbor, and 1 piece of white. So I'm going to put this other piece underneath my pattern paper. I'm going to turn these pieces over so that they're now in the order that I just described. And we will start with the mink. Because I have 2-sided paper, color-wise, looks a little lighter when I put it down. So what we want here, actually we're going to cut the light side as the upside. So our first cut is 4 1/4. We're going to do a second cut at 4 1/4, so let's just do that right away and get that measurement out of the way. And I'll leave the extra piece on the side there. 6 1/4 is our next cut, turning it sideways. And then 3 1/4. There we go. This piece will be a scrap. Let's pick up our second 4 1/4 cut, and we're going to do the same thing again. 1 6 1/4 and 1 3 1/4. And all 4 of these pieces go into our number 3 file for layout number 3. And let's put that one aside. So this last piece, it's 3 1/4 across the top and then 4 1/4 long. So I'm going to cut the 4 1/4 piece first because that will leave the rest of it a larger intact piece, which when you're looking for scraps of something, sometimes that's really what you want, is a larger piece, not shredded down to little minis. Okay, so this is a scrap. And then we have 3 1/4 cut the other way. And that scrap is just so tiny, I'm going to go ahead and discard it. And this piece also goes into file number 3. Let's turn the page. Next, we are working with the dark side of the shortbread. And our first cut will be at 3 1/4. The shortbread is a new color, and I sure do like it. It's not one that I would use probably very often for my main color, but it's really pretty for an accent color. 4 1/4 is our next cut. And then 3 1/4. And another 3 1/4. And all 3 of those pieces, I'm going to put the extra scrap aside. All 3 of those go right into number 1. They're all labeled number 1. Our next cut is 4 1/4, and it's going to be 4 1/4 twice. Okay, 4 1/4 2 times. Actually, the long way is going to be 6 1/4, and I'm going to do that one first so that we don't divide this big piece down here in 2. We're going to keep it as one larger piece. I tend to use my larger pieces of scraps much easier than my smaller pieces. So here we have 6 1/4. This is scrap, and we're going to turn it back the way it originally was and do 4 1/4 2 times. Once, and here's twice. And again, this little scrap is something I'm just going to discard. These 2 pieces go into folder number 1. And put this larger piece aside with my other scraps. Now we have harbor, and we want the dark side of the harbor up. And we are going to cut a square, 10 1/4 by 10 1/4. So there's one side gone, 10 1/4 the other way, and there's the other side. And that is going into folder number 3 for layout number 3. Let's grab the other piece of our harbor. Again, our dark side up, and we are going to cut at 4 1/4 first time. And a second cut at 4 1/4 on the first strip of 4 1/4. We need a square there, and then we need 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 2 times. Here's once. And here is 3 1/4 twice. Okay, let's put those all go into folder number 2. And the next cut is 3 1/4 for the whole length. And 4 1/4 once. And 3 1/4 for the second cut. We're going to do another square and another 3 1/4 square. And those all go also into folder number 2. And with the last little piece we have going here, let's see, I'm not going to use this full big one. This is going to be 9 1/4, which I definitely can get out of the shorter piece by 1/2. So I'm going to do 9 1/4 first. And that's a scrap. 1/2. Again, I'm going to do on the other side of my cutting guide. So there's our half. And that also goes into folder 2. And all of this left over is scraps. I'm going to just keep my small scraps up front and put my big scraps out of sight. White Daisy cardstock. Okay, our first 2 cuts. The first one is 1/4 inch by 12, and let's take that on the right side of our cutting guide. And if I forgot to mention it, we're using the right side just because it gives us more to hold on here. If I tried to do it this way, it's a little more awkward holding on to our paper. So that's a full 12 inch by 1/4. That goes into folder number 2. And the second one is 3/8 by 12. So find your little 3/8 line on the right hand side and give it a cut. And this goes into number 1. Okay, next we have 9 1/2 by 9 1/2 square. So we're going to go all the way over to our 9 1/2 inch mark. Cut off a nice slice of white, and let's turn the page, 1/4 turn, and go to 9 1/2 again. And there's our 9 1/2 square that goes into folder number 3. And with this little piece at the bottom, we need 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. So let's cut one way first. Give it a 1/4 turn. Oops, 2 1/2. And it's very, very close to being 2 1/2. Mine just had a little square that needed to come off. And this goes into number 2. Okay. Wow. Okay, so that is all of our paper cuts. So let's just go ahead and do a little pickup here. Slide our trimmer out of the way. And what I'm going to do next is bring out our die cuts. I'm going to put the heartfelt thanks aside for a moment. The sticker sheet is what I actually meant to say. And you will notice on your die cuts that they will indicate what project that they're for. So the first page I have here says it's all for project number 1. So I'm going to just pop these all out. And put them into folder number 1. This means I'm not looking for them and thumbing through the pieces of die cuts, because they do tend to kind of just fall out when you least want or expect them to. Now, if you are very, very picky about your layouts, you can go through and maybe do a little trim on some of these. Occasionally, not always, but on occasion, you may get a little bit of a, I don't know, is this the same as a Chad hanging? I thought I noticed some on the circle. And what I would do is just take my scissors, and let's see if I can do this without putting my nose against the paper because I'm virtually blind. Just take my scissors and just do a little teeny tiny trim on there. You can also do the same thing with a little piece of sandpaper or anything that can take that off. But like I say, most of these you don't even notice that there was any place that it was ever attached. So we're going to just get all of these out. You noticed our first layout, I don't know if you can see it in the video right now, but our first layout has a beautiful cluster of, is that the first layout? Of leaves and whatnot. Here we go. With my tongue-tiedness. I keep telling myself I'm going to keep doing these videos until I get so comfortable that I'm never ever tongue-tied again. Now, if you think that's something that is realistic and can ever happen, give me a thumbs up. But if you think that this is something that I'm probably going to struggle with the rest of my life, a little bit of stumbling over my own tongue and trying to think up words, give me a thumbs up anyway, okay? So we have everything out of this piece. It was labeled Project 1 right here, so that's how we know where everything goes. And I will take all of these fun pieces, especially these little leaves, see, I'm losing them already, and put them into my folder number 1. So they are ready to go when the time comes on Friday. And this also goes into number 1. I don't know that I actually need the instructions out here anymore. Okay, I'm going to just turn this to the front page. And the reason I'm pausing right here is because I don't know where all of those little circles were used. But it all said project number 1, so someplace on this page there's some beautiful circles. Let's set that aside again. Alright, okay. This one, you can see there's a line here, says project number 1, and down here project number 2 is everything on that side of the line. So what I'm going to do is just poke out the pieces for number 1 first. And perhaps I should just make a little pile of them over here so I'm not looking for them like I was a moment ago. And there we go. If you do have some resistance on these die cuts as you pull them out, pull them towards you, and that way if there's any separation of the paper, it will be the back side of the paper and not the side that is facing us, and potentially could lose a little piece of the color when you do that. Okay, I have all the pieces from project 1 out, and I'm going to scoop those out off the table and drop them in project number 1. Let's move this aside like that. Okay, so project number 2 remains here. And another easy way to do what I just said, and it's really easy right now because I know that the rest of this is project number 2, turn it over and just push down. And that way you know you're not hurting any of the cuts that are coming off the sheet. Now right here, there's one that has a lot of cutouts in the center, so be careful with that one. It takes a little more attention because it's a little fragile. And here we go. Getting the rest of these unpoked. Okay, now I can tell from the back that I am taking out a pumpkin right now. This part up here looked like it might be a little bit fragile, so what I could have done there, I didn't need to, but I could have taken my embossing tool and just used it to hold it down. while I pulled up. I'm going to turn this over and make sure I didn't miss anything. There is a little bit left on this pumpkin. You can see right there the center of that vine didn't pop out, so we'll do that. And here's all of the pieces. Now, this is the one right here that had some pieces that pop out of it. So we don't need to keep those pieces that are popping out. They are just part of the design when they're gone. And it looks like these are probably stem designs for the pumpkins. So let's get rid of those there as well. And then inside the pumpkin, let's go ahead and pop these out from the back as well. Push down. Actually, these might be the other way, because these aren't the pieces we're keeping, they're the pieces that we're tossing. So we want to push away from the colored side. And that way, if there's any tearing, it's on the piece that we're tossing and not the piece that we're keeping. Okay, there's the pretty frame. This is a garbage piece. This piece has another little vine to pop out of it. This time we do want to come back towards us again. So from the back, and let's pop out the center. And from the back for these leaves, this leaf, and this pumpkin. There's our leaf. The pumpkin has a few more little cuts to pop out of there, and when I say pop, I guess I really mean it, because that one just practically attacked me. Okay, there we go. And this is garbage, and one more stem here. Okay, let's toss the garbage pieces aside, and this all went into layout number 2. Have you any idea what you would use this layout for? I am really excited about it because I'm planning to use it for photos that I took in the Grand Tetons. It was already showing a lot of color in the leaves, and it will be so fun to add them to these pages. I cannot wait. That will probably come after the assembly class, just because I still have to print them and everything. Okay? Okay. So this is for project number 3, this little corner right here. You can see we're cutting around the lines that way. And one last leaf. Again, I'm pushing up on these. Always want to push towards the side that has the color where the cut is. Okay, project number 3 right there. Let's put all of these into our 3rd folder. And the rest of this is project 2. I'm going to turn it over and just pop them out, just like I've been talking about. Here's another. Again, we're pushing towards the color side. Then turn it over, make sure you have nothing left. Discard that piece. There's a little piece in the vine here. And pumpkin, I'm going to put that on the bottom because it'll be easier to scoop up things. And let's just pop these little guys out. And there's one. There's the other leaf. And I'm going to push these larger pieces out this time. We're pushing towards, away from the colors part that we want to keep. I'm not sure that I have said this clearly once yet, but I just know that sometimes these things that are attached that way, if it's not coming loose, it will grab the paper that you don't want harmed and take some of it with it. So I'm always trying to push away from the color that I'm keeping. And it seems like because of these inside pieces that I'm saying the opposite thing more and more, which is not my intent. Okay, and this was in number... I'm sorry, I'm blind and I can't see what I'm looking at here. Project number 2. Okay. So folder number 2 for those guys. And number 3, everything on this page appears to be for number 3. So I'm going to turn it over and start working it from the back. Some words coming out here. Okay, the words are a little bit tricky because there's so many curves and bends that they follow. So just be a little careful with those. Want to make sure we don't have any mess ups. And I think I'm to my last word here. Okay. There's some leaves. So, I'm curious, do you find this fun to push these out? Because I'm thinking that in some ways this is just a little bit similar to popping bubbles on bubble wrap. You know, you can just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. The only thing is that when I'm popping bubbles, there's nothing that I need to watch out for, so there's absolutely zero stress involved. And on this, I just want to make sure that I don't get too rough and rip something. To be honest, that's never happened, but the thought is there. Okay, we're coming to the end here. I think there's a lot more on this page than I first imagined. And there we go. Okay, turn it over. Make sure that everything is popped out. I see this is all for project number 3 because I have to say that out loud because my brain doesn't hold information very long. I'm going to put that aside for my recycling pile, and all of these pieces are going to go into the folder number 3. Okay, now let's back up a little bit. I do not generally worry about the things that are on here. They can just be peeled off. These are stickers, and they can just be peeled off as we need them. If you are wanting to use these or separate them out, you can cut around here, but you'll have to go through your instructions to see what goes where because it's not labeled like the die cuts are. Then we have some full sheets left over, and these are going to be some of our base pages. So let's take a look at what base pages. Project number 1 or layout number 1 uses these 2 base pages. So I'm going to turn those upside down right here so that when I'm ready to scrap, they'll be on top. Or if you like, you can go ahead and put them into your folder number 1. So layout number 2 looks like it's using the back side of this paper for its base pages. So I'm going to turn that upside down and put it on top of the number 1. So those are ready to go. And project number 3 is using one. The left page, what comes first, is using the white daisy paper, and the second page is using the here we go, the sweater paper. So I'm going to put that upside down right there. Now if I pick all these up and turn them over, they are in the order that I need them for when we start class on Friday. Not tomorrow Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving. So I'm going to slide these back inside my envelope here, along with my instructions and my sticker sheet. My beautiful wood pieces. Did these come with this, or did I just put it there? It came with it. And I could go ahead and slip my envelopes or my folders in there too, but I have a little folder holder that I'm going to just leave these sitting upright on until class time comes, and they'll be right there for me to grab. You might notice that I have labeled these all with the pumpkin spice label too, because I have some other classes that I need to organize and get ready for. So thank you very much for jumping in and joining me for this impromptu cutting session, and I hope we will see you on Friday the 26th. Bye now.